Welcome back.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome back. Bill, we're back.
Yes, you're back.
Yes, I'm Rich Douglas.
I'm Bill Easton.
And guys, we are back from our road trip. I'm excited.
Yep.
And Bill, actually, I'm back from...
You took
a real trip.
It wasn't a road trip. It was a road trip in the trip. Yeah, tell me about your trip. Tell everyone.
After we got back from Dr. Frank's, the wife and I actually went to go visit my brother, and we headed out to Vegas. It was everything people say Vegas is and more. Really, really long nights.
Did you do a pool party?
We saw a pool. It'd be in the middle of winter. Everyone's like resurfacing their pools. They're all closed. So I heard about the pool party you had last time.
We're not talking about that.
Wild times. Well, do you know what we did though? Is we went to the Grand Canyon.
Cool.
We got a rental car. We hit up the Grand Canyon, and it's a lot of walking.
I believe it.
Yeah. It's kind of, this epiphany hit me that vacations are basically walking with your family. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody says, hey, do you want to go on vacation together? They're basically saying, hey, do you want to go walk with me for a long time?
Yeah, this is why you should go with me.
A few days
in a row. We go to pool parties and nightclubs.
No, I'm not complaining. The Grand Canyon was beautiful. There were these two brothers we heard about, I think in like the 1920s, called like the Cobb brothers, KOLB, and they were the first guys to ever photograph and film themselves at the Grand Canyon.
Just first selfie?
Yeah, no, this is basically the first selfie. They actually took some videos. It looked like a fake video. They are recording themselves navigating down the Colorado River, and they're just bumping into things. They're crashing and tipping over. But because those videos kind of went all over, those pictures went all over, then it gave people the courage to kind of come and
do it themselves?
Yeah, try it themselves. So it really helped tourism there, yeah. And we walked almost all the way down and then back up. And I got to tell you, back up is a whole lot harder.
Yeah, I have no interest in doing that. Ever. I'm glad you did it without me.
Yeah. Well, it was a good time. I was pretty sore the next day, too. But I did wish you were there. I figured there would be some cool people we could find in Vegas or some sort of national park ranger to talk to and interview.
Can we bring all this with us?
Yeah. That's one thing we wanted to talk about and bring up. Every time Bill and I are doing these interviews together, if you didn't pick up on it, these are in person. They're live, and they've been going pretty well, Bill. But the fun thing for us is, when we take those road trips, we are going to the winery. Yeah,
that's cool. That's the nice part about it.
Yeah, we're going to the brewery. We're going to the office, the huddle room.
We've had hecklers.
Yeah,
Rich was good enough to edit them out.
Yeah. We're gonna get better at the technology, I'm sure, for season 2. It would be really interesting. We're getting some emails from some great people, inspirational people, some podcasters in California, and they want us to be on their show, Bill, and they want to be on our show.
Cool. I have a couple friends too that sent an email this week, both suggesting some local people that we could talk to.
It sounds good. I just want to figure out, maybe for season 2, how do we actually record using the internet for people that are really far away? I don't want to do that for all of them, but I would love to give it a shot.
Yeah, why not?
Well, let's get right to it, guys. As always, make sure you check us out and keep up to date with the podcast at guystellingstories.com.
Facebook.
Yeah,
we're on Facebook, Guys Telling Stories, and also on Twitter, Guys Tell Stories.
And, of course, Instagram at Guys Telling Stories as well. And, we haven't brought it up before, but we have a mailing list. So you can sign up for our mailing list. Head to our website, guystellingstories.com.
Every morning I wake up and start writing.
He does. Well, I don't know what he writes, but he writes something. And what we do is we send out the occasional update, especially in the off season. We have a few more amazing guests for you, some really surprise, interesting ones. But then once we kind of close down season 1, you can stay up to date with the podcast by signing up for that mailing list. So head over to guystellingstories.com. Just type in your name, your email address, and we call it the VIP list, Bill.
It is.
Yeah. It's a very important.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So, definitely check that out. Well, our guest for today is not only a successful restaurateur and successful businessman, Bill, but he is a successful, I don't know, what do you call him, business mogul almost. He doesn't own...
he's done what he wants to do, and it's worked for him.
He doesn't have.
You can't really define him.
No, he doesn't have one business. So he has an entire portfolio of businesses.
Yes.
Our guest for today is Mike Shatzel. He is a guy who grew up in the restaurant business, and he took over the family business. And I think there was a few in the works there. Like you said, there was two, Coles and Brennan's.
Yep, I know him and his brother have been running them both, and he's just nonstop. Keep going.
Since that time, he's opened up 5 more. I think he has one in the works that he's kind of cleaning up and fixing up, and he's actually opening his own brewery. And I'd love to talk to him about that too.
Nope, that's just in. He just opened another one.
Yep, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, he's a hard man to track down because he's always traveling. He agreed to meet us at one of his newer ventures, ABV, Allen Burger Venture. He is it's a rock and roll style restaurant. He's going to meet us.
Have you been there yet?
I've checked it out. It's really cool inside. I say rock and roll because it's like, all wood inside and metal. And
it's cool.
It's really something you got to check out. So where else are we going to meet a guy who owns 7 restaurants and opening a brewery and another restaurant besides a really cool, loud restaurant?
This is his loudest one. This will be a challenge.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So let's pack this stuff up. Let's head to his restaurant. Let's go ahead.
ABV.
Yeah, ABV. Let's have a good talk, Bill.
Okay, see you there.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Guys Telling Stories. We're, again, very, very excited to have Mike Shatzel as our guest. Mike is owner of a number of restaurants here in Buffalo, New York. You can definitely check all the restaurants and him out on Twitter, Instagram. Mike, welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys. Pleasure to be here.
So, Mike, we like to start kind of bringing it back to the beginning. There's probably a lot of people wondering, what was life like when you were first starting out? What set you on this path?
My dad, his dad, we've pretty much been in the bar business. My grandfather owned a saloon called Shatzel's on Electric Avenue in Lackawanna. My dad kind of ventured out of sunny LA to Buffalo. He opened the Lachlan's, which is now Buffalo proper, in the 60s. And in 69, they shut him down for being too wild, which must have been really wild. This before I was born. But in 1970, he opened Brennan's Bowery Bar out in the Main and Transit. And then Cole's in 73 he bought, which was already I'm
alive now, so that's good.
So he opened Cole's a year after I was born. So, back when I was probably, once I got in double digits in years, the busboy didn't show up. If dishwasher didn't show up, then my dad was driving home and grabbing me and putting me to work. So I started doing that at a pretty young age, and then I just pretty much never left it.
Yeah, it sounds like at all ages you were bussing. It sounds like probably serving, maybe in the kitchen, cooking. You've seen it all?
Yeah, I've done it all. I started off as a busboy dishwasher. Never really waited tables unless it was like someone didn't show. I'm fully capable of doing it. Bar backed. I bartended for a long time, and then one day at Cole's, I think this one kind of turned around the food program there. A guy pulled me aside and just pretty much laid into me about the quality of his food. That this is about 98, and he's right. He showed me this roll that was a hockey puck, and it was embarrassing.
Wow.
And the next day I went to the head cook. I said, "You're teaching me how to cook," and then I put some couple years in, on the line in the kitchen, redid the menus. Then I went out to Vancouver, British Columbia, to culinary school.
Most people, when they go to culinary school, don't open this type of an environment. They open fine dining. They get creative. What made you want to just...
Well, I think I'm still creative. Fine dining's not me. It's I feel I'm not a white tablecloth guy. It's just not who I am. I'm a pub bar guy that wants to serve good food that fits that that type of place. So, and I think what you see now, you see a lot of restaurants are going to that. You don't see these high end chefs. They're not opening in New York. They're not opening those really fancy places. They're open jean and t-shirt places with really good food. I mean, by no means is the food any worse. It's different.
A place like this is where I would want to be on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night.
I open places I want to hang out in. So
yeah, that makes sense.
For the most part, I've been around. I've traveled.
Well, speaking of being well traveled, most people, like Bill was saying, when they go to culinary school, probably don't go international. What brought you to Canada?
Funny, I was a kid. I don't know when I was a kid, but this movie came out, the Ted Danson movie called Cousins, I think it was called.
Okay.
And it was filmed in British Columbia, and I just thought it was gorgeous. And at the end of I waited on the movie to see where it was filmed. It said Vancouver. So I always had Vancouver on the mind. And then when I decided to go to culinary school, I looked one up. I found one in Vancouver and flew out there and checked the city out. I loved it and applied, got in, and the rest is history.
That's great. It seems like your family influenced you quite a bit. Obviously, like your father, your grandfather, they've been in this business, but was there anyone specific that encouraged you to pursue this path and take it to basically a whole nother level?
It's a good question. A lot was built on just seeing I love the lifestyle my parents had growing up. They weren't your typical parents. They're coming home after a late Friday night and feeling pretty good. And I was like, that's what I want to do. They travel, they have fun, they had enough time to take us on trips. And obviously, there's people I look up to in the business. I was in Amsterdam with first time with Charlie Goldman from Allen Street Hardware, and we went to a bar called Gollum right off the Sink Canal there, and it was just like an old kind of crusty Belgian beer bar, and I fell in love. But like just the atmosphere there, and then they had the correct glass for every beer, and just the vibe. It wasn't fancy. It was worn because those bars are so old over on the other side, and it just something that really I was already into beer, so and that really started the fire burning. And
for me, one of the breweries I visited first was Omegang over in Cooperstown.
Yep.
And I got to say, like a guilty pleasure beer, or maybe a desert island beer, that Three Philosophers for me was the one that sort of turned me on to. There's a whole nother level here.
First time I had three Philosophers. I think at that point I already had St. Bernardus 12 and a couple of the Belgians, but that mixed with the Creek, Three Philosophers was a special beer the first time I had it.
Yeah, same.
Still, it remains so.
What about you, Bill? In terms of the guilty pleasure or desert island, whatever, that first beer that got you?
You know what? It was the Southern Tier Creme Brulee. Was the first thing I tasted. That was just like, this is not beer. This is beyond. So I had 4 of them.
So you're gonna laugh
I did not feel good the next day.
The first beer that kind of took me off that was Dundee's Honey Brown. That was like the first back in college at the University of Rochester.
Yeah.
That was like the one beer that kind of that had some color, had some flavor that I started getting into.
Yeah.
And from there, I graduated to other things, but.
Well, it sounds like you have this visual memory of where you were when things happened. Was there, where were you when you realized there's no turning back for the path you're on in terms of I'm taking this restaurant, bar, beer scene to another level? Were you here? Were you traveling somewhere else?
Shortly, a couple friends kind of saw what I was doing. My brother-in-law and my friend Larissa. And she convinced me to take this course at UB called CEL. So it's sort of like an entrepreneurial leadership course. You go there and they kind of show you how to get your business going, and you have various people in different business. There's plumbers, there's printers, there's real estate, pretty much everything. But you don't realize, but a lot of your problems are similar. You're just selling different things. So I took that, and that kind of got my fire going, and it showed me, I can be more. And one of the big motivating thing was had I just stayed at Kohl's, I could have had Kohl's is a great spot, and I could have had a nice life just doing that. But it was always, this is just your dad's spot, and so I had to create my own identity and do it on my own, and I think I've definitely done that at this point.
When you have been growing and doing this, there's obviously obstacles and challenges you hit along the way.
Each place you open, you lose a little grip on, so you're not as much as hands-on you want to be. You can't be as hands-on. So that's the biggest adjustment I've had, was losing my grip on every place. But you hire well. You put knowledgeable people, you put them in the right situations, give them the right training, set yourself up for success.
Yeah. It sounds like it comes down to the hiring the right people, making the right decisions in terms of who you trust.
That is very, very true. And you do make mistakes once in a while with that. You make mistakes as a business owner with a lot of things you do. Some are little, some are bigger. Sometimes I know you have partners in certain places, and that's always,
you have to know who you're getting in bed with, and it's for the most part I've been pretty good picking out partners. You win some, you lose some, but your key people, you got to surround yourself with top-notch people, and you got to pay them right. So if you pay them right and they do the job, they definitely make up for what extra you might be paying them. So it's and that's a lot of obstacles in this business. It's Yelp. There's so many, Facebook. I mean, there's social media has changed everything, and it's.
It's funny you bring that up, because most people listening to this are thinking of Yelp as a tool for when they're at another town, they could look up the best restaurant, the best place to go grab a bagel. But for you, you probably look at it totally differently.
Well, like Facebook yesterday, we had this guy was mad because we don't take reservations at Blue Monk. So we had a little fun with him, and then next thing you know, he's getting friends, and they live in Miami. And next thing you know, the guy puts a review up on Blue Monk's Facebook page. 1 out of 5 had a giant hairball in my food.
Oh, boy.
I know the guy's never even been there, but definitely changed the scope of advertising. But it also some negative stuff can out, and it can spread like wildfire.
Yeah. From listening to other podcasts or other interviews, I've heard a lot of people talk about how they've used technology maybe a little differently to help their business, whether it's listing what beers they have online or using iPads to take orders at the table. Do you think technology has played a role in your businesses at all yet?
Yeah, now with I know guys, we haven't got there yet, but you can adjust. You're sitting at home and you just pull out your iPhone and look at your cameras on your phone. You can, if you don't like the lighting on your, if you think it's too bright, you can, from your couch at home, you can turn the lights down.
Oh, wow. Okay.
On my phone, I can get right into my POS systems and leave messages for the servers, and it's great in some ways, and it's you can get it affords you some things, but it also, I remember, I think a local guy, Rory Allen, wrote, I remember reading this, you want people to go to your event, send them an invite. And I think a lot of that stuff has gone, away, that now it's just like, I'll just post an event on Facebook and everybody's going to come, and it doesn't happen. You still got to do those things. And, I think social media has kind of turned you a little lazy. Not lazy, but it's definitely changed things the way you approach. I wake up, 6:45, 6:30. I grab my phone, and right then I have an email waiting for me from Morpat, ABV, soon to be Monk. It gives me the breakdown, the sales, tells me what I sold in food, tells me what I sold in liquor, beer, tells me my labor costs, percentages. I mean, everything's right there waiting when I wake up, and it's definitely, it's a whole new world out there, and it's exciting, but it's also a little scary, but it's not scary, but it's
exciting.
I'm not the most like computer savvy person, so I'm getting better. But it's definitely it's a new restaurant world out there, no doubt.
That's for sure. I was thinking before we look too far ahead, in opening all these new places, any funny stories, anecdotal stories about the last minute rush to get the chairs in, or get the lines. Just one of those funny stories where we barely made it, guys, but we made it in opening all these new places.
First one comes to mind was Morpat, when we were pretty getting close to ready to go. And then we had a plumber in, and he realized that the water from the toilet was getting kind of where the main line on Williamsville is on Main Street. So the water goes up, it's got to go up the hill. And he said, there's no way you're going to get volume. He goes, everything's going to flow right back at you in that bathroom. You're going to be so.
That's not what you want to hear.
Yeah, not what you want to hear. So we thank God we figured that out before.
Even the upstairs bathroom?
No, not everything gets. We had the crazy thing is like the terms you learn, like opening bars. Like I didn't know what wainscoting was before. I didn't know what a soffit was. Like electric. Before you do, I had no idea what. Now after you keep opening them, things you never thought you'd learn, you start getting accustomed to, But the bathroom one's like the first thing. But week of open, something always happens, a couple wires are on backwards, so when you're trying to turn the lights up, they're putting them down. It's just the way it is, I guess.
Music on Main Street, Thursday nights in Williamsville. How many glasses did you lose?
We go through quite a. We didn't lose. We go through quite a bit. I figured Williamsville were safer there, but funny things like you always see like Untapped or Facebook or Twitter. You see a lot of pictures of beers in Morpat cups that I'm sure some people bought them, but I'm sure. But that's kind of the. So it cost me, I don't know, neighborhood of like $2 a glass. And you're pretty, not that I want them to steal them all the time, but you kind of expect it to happen. So they're going to steal your glass from you. Might as well have your logo on it.
There you go.
So, it sits in there, whether it sits in their bathroom with whether they brush their teeth, wash their face, see Morpat. If they go in their cupboard, there's Morpat staring in the face. So for $2 to be an everyday, or at least a couple times a week, they
smart.
see your logo in their house, it's money well spent.
Yeah, it sounds like a lesson learned. You could drive yourself crazy worrying about the silverware or the glasses, but
you just kind of, it's a marketing thing. It's advertising. They're going to take your glassware, so at least you have a nice reminder where it came from.
Yeah, it's looking at the bigger picture, because if they see the Morpat glass, they might go, "Hey, we haven't been there in a little while. Let's head back there." Yeah,
and they're having some friends over. Where should we go tonight?
Let's go to Morpat.
Let's go to Morpat.
Exactly.
Somebody's drinking out of the Morpat glass. So I think for the $2, at least it means they were in there. So
yeah, I think it's time for us to take a look ahead. I know you have a lot in the works, but a couple months down the line, a year down the line, what's one thing that's currently exciting you?
Well, the new brew pub I'm opening on Elmwood called Thin Man with Rocco Termini. We're very excited about that. We're going into the old Faraday's Toro location on Elmwood, and that block's has seen better days. A lot of things besides Faraday's and Toro's closed. Putting some new blood in there, and I think it'll be a great winner. Rocco, everything he touches seems to do very well. Everything I've been touching seems to be doing very well. So I think we'll make a great team. It's a very exciting thing. It's a logical next step for me, being the craft beer bar guy in Buffalo, and
right.
I'm excited. I don't know much about brewing, but I think I got a pretty good palate, and I know how to sell beer. So it's for me, it's really exciting to be in that aspect of this craft beer business, and I couldn't be, it's a really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah. It sounds pretty exciting already. Most of the local breweries that are opening up are starting to focus on a specific type of beer or maybe a certain type of cuisine. Any ideas what Thin Man might be? Is it going to be a West Coast IPA, a stout, a little bit of everything?
We're going to brew a little of everything. We'll have, definitely have our IPAs and some American style stouts. And I think one thing we're concentrating, we want the first really, really great stout brewed in Buffalo. I think that's something.
Talking our language.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I think that's something that's missing. I'm not saying these other guys don't make great stouts, but we want that first one that's just like mind blowing. That people are driving a couple hours for the release, and hopefully that's something we can pull off. We want to experiment Belgians, and obviously IPAs are a huge thing. So it's, and then we'll have like kind of an experimental. Our main brewery will be a 15-barrel brewery, and then we'll have like an experimental practice kit that we'll put some one-offs on, and see what we'll have our hits and misses. I know, and that's the fun part about it. So, but I think we'll be a very nice addition to the current Buffalo scene that CBW and Flying Bison and Big Ditch and Resurgence and Hamburg and 12 Gates that I'm looking forward to, and there's a lot of it's an exciting time to be in Buffalo.
Yourself personally, like we're talking about near future, what about down the road? Like what are your goals, let's say 10, 20 years from now?
10 years, hopefully, I'm still doing what I'm doing, and I think I don't want to spread myself too thin. I don't want to open that one spot that maybe my ego gets in the way of what's going on. So I think I'm kind of maxing myself out at this point, and then but if Thin Man takes off, then I can see that turning into a production brewery, and then selling beers across the state, and then through my connections with importers, maybe that takes off and it starts going to bigger markets in the U.S. And that's well down the line. But I think that'd be
step.
Yeah, I got some that I buy a lot of beer off. So if the beer's good, people will drink it. So that's step one. And I think that would be great. I'd love to go to Denver or San Francisco and see one of my beers on at one of the finer beer bars in the country. So ideally, that's where I'd want to be. Restaurant wise, hopefully it's one day at a time. Don't look too fast, because don't look to the future too much, because you're not going to see the bigger picture. You might miss some of the details that need to be paid attention to. But if these Coulter Bay and the brewery, and I think it gives me 8. So hopefully I'll be pretty comfortable staying there.
Mike, as we bring this thing to a close, it sounds like you have so much in the works. One of the things you mentioned for the future might be distribution, maybe making the brewery a success. It's an interesting question to ask, but is there anything right now that you would say is holding you back from becoming that successful? Something that you wish you had more of, or
it's. I want to spend time with my kids. That's the most important thing. I do this, but each place I open takes time away from my kids, and they're 4.5 and 3, and spending time with them and my wife. And I think you have to have that life home balance. And you keep. That's more important to me than my financial statement. So. It's not a detriment, but that'd be the one thing that would hold me back, I think.
So you're about 5 years from getting him to bus tables?
Yeah, that's about right.
Cole might be bouncing. He's going to be a big boy, but he is a big boy. But I think that's and then once they get into school, I think then you got practices and you have all that stuff. So then it's a whole new world that is coming. I want to see as many of their games and stuff as possible. So I think that would be I want to be successful, but I don't need to be like I don't need to be Donald Trump or something.
No, you only get so much time.
No, and I think you're setting your kids up well anyway, just by being successful at what you do. So,
Any advice though to the guy just starting out? Maybe it's a mom and pop coffee shop. Maybe it's a guy who, he's been a chef for 15, 20 years, and he finally got some money together. He's opening his first restaurant. What would you say to those people just starting out?
Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be. Biggest thing is you see some people that just think they're going to open a restaurant and it's going to be easy work and it's going to you buy a beer for $1 and you sell it for $4. How can you not make money? Don't be blinded by there's so much that goes in behind the scenes that you don't know about, and it's hopefully the state starts making it a little easier for small businesses to operate. But if you're good in a restaurant, maybe you're taking home 10, 15 cents on the dollar, and a lot of places don't survive. So make sure this is really what you want to do, and it's long hours, and it's it's not easy. I mean, it can be a great job and it can be a great thing to do, but know the potential pitfalls and do your homework.
Yeah, it sounds like good advice. Have a plan, be prepared, but also, ask for help when you need it. Well, guys, that is, I think we ran a little bit over, but we had some good stories in there.
We did, definitely.
Mike, thanks so much for being our guest.
It's a pleasure having this. It was great talking shop here, and thanks for everything.
Absolutely. And once again, follow Mike and all the news and new restaurants he has. You can go to Cole's, ABV, Morpat,
Liberty Hound, Brennan's,
Blue Monk,
Coulter Bay.
Check them out and looking ahead.
I forgot one again.
Well, we got to check out Thin Man when that opens up.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we got Coulter Bay as well. So, again, this is Rich Douglas.
Bill Easton.
Thanks again, guys.